Hey everybody, this is a very special episode for us because this is actually our very first mini-sode hosted by the Castle to Castle podcast crew. So basically what these are is exactly what it sounds like. It's a mini episode. So we're not going to do a full-length episode and have segments of different things. We're going to pick just one topic, whether it's a discussion topic, whether it's just playing a fun, bigger Disney game than we can normally do on our episodes, bringing in special guests, talking all types of different things Disney, and really having fun with these. So we're going to pick just one topic per mini-sode and have about a 20 to 30 minute session with you guys, if you will, just for a way to create a little bit more content, have a little bit more fun in between our actual episodes. So this is our very first mini-sode by the Castle to Castle podcast crew. All right, so what are we doing for our first official mini-sode, Emily?
We are doing a full discussion on was D23 worth it?
Ooh. D23 was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. It was very cool, very intense.
Very intense.
There was a lot.
There was a lot of people.
There was a lot going on in every direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At full volume.
And D23 really, like, talk about just swallowing up Anaheim. Like, not only the convention piece of it, but there was so much going on in the parks.
Yeah.
D23 Takeover Day. I think Disney blew it out of the water.
They did a good job with that.
It was fantastic to do that D23 Day at Disneyland.
And we saw so many celebrities.
So many celebrities.
That
so
was
many
really cool.
influencers. It was insane.
I
Oh no, Darth Vader down.
I definitely think we should break it down. So let's start with what was your favorite part of D23?
Ooh, okay.
Like if you had to pick
Are we
one
talking just convention or are we talking like D23?
convention.
Okay. I think my favorite part I'm kind of tied between two things.
Okay.
One was, as you guys know, every episode I wear a different Roosevelt shirt. I love them to death. They're slowly taking over my closet.
Slowly?
And they've taken over my closet.
Taken over.
But Roosevelt's, for the first time ever, had a booth at D23. And I was super freaking excited. I rope dropped with Kat over to the Roosevelt's booth. I got this Friend Like Me Genie D23 exclusive shirt. And it was so much fun because there was a lot of people that do the collections and the shirts across the country that I met on Facebook and got to see a bunch of people there. And the booth looked awesome. Like, it was so fun. It was like a bazaar. Like, it kind of looked like, you know, I had all the shirts on the wall, but it reminded me of Aladdin and like a bazaar you'd see. So that was a lot of fun getting to do that live.
The whole booth was designed very cool too, I thought.
It was. They put a lot of effort into it.
It was like a whole little building.
It was. It was super cool, and it was so excited. Like, they put a lot of effort into this, and it really came out great. And it was fun because it's an online only store. Like, they don't have a physical footprint. They're in some, like, I know they're in Buc-ee's and a couple other random stores, but all of my shirts I buy online. So it was fun to finally go into a brick and mortar in person, talk to other people that are obsessed with these shirts as much as I am. Or
plus, just to see
more.
them in person, you're just used to seeing like the thumbnails online.
Yeah.
To see them physically in person, just how they were laid out was cool.
Well, and that was really fun because all the workers in the booth were they did a different exclusive every day. On Friday, they did a Heffalumps and Woozles in the morning and an Indiana Jones at night. Saturday, they did a Friends Like Me.
Okay.
And so it was fun because the employees were walking around in that shirt. So you're like, what does it look like? Oh my God, that looks so cute. Oh my God, I want it. And I can't tell you how many people, after I bought the shirt, I put it on right there.
Where'd you get it?
100%. It was, oh my God, I love that shirt. Oh my God, I want that shirt. So Roosevelt's was definitely a top for me. The other thing was the car show. And we did put the video online so you guys can see the car show, but they had so many cool, different, unique cars from different movies over the years.
Herbie
There was a couple of Herbies there.
Two Herbies.
The other fun one, all the Cruella de Vil vehicles.
That was cool.
That was so cool.
There were 3 of them, right?
There was 3 of them there, yeah.
I got to see the Once Upon a Time car, which was a big thing.
Emma
I love
Swan's
that show.
bug.
Yep.
Love that show.
And they even had one of the original transit I can't think of the word right. Trams
from
at
Disneyland.
Disneyland,
Yeah.
and that was in there. So
And the van, the Muppet van.
and the Muppet van was there,
That was
and they even
cool.
had a mock-up of the Onward van.
Yeah.
The Dharma Initiative van from Lost was there.
Yeah.
Sharpay's convertible was there.
Yeah.
It was so
There was a lot of
cool.
really cool cars.
So I really loved the car show. I loved that experience, and so those were definitely my two tops. Jen, what was your?
For me, I'm going to put it as a whole about the experiences. I loved the car show. I loved the area with the Disney Broadway. I actually got to hold the baby Simba puppet, which was the coolest thing ever. And then just seeing like them on display, the Aladdin genie actor from on Broadway was there. We got to see him.
They had the lamp.
They had the
did have
lamp.
So he did like a whole little production about like on stage magic. It was really cool.
Yeah, and they actually had one of the actors that does Sven for Frozen on Broadway. I saw them come out of this back door to go to the area, but we were in a line. But on TikTok, I saw actually the whole thing of them putting the actual Sven costume on, the whole demonstration. Like those
cool.
experiences were cool. The Disney Channel with the wand. was fun. So I just feel like those were cool things that it wasn't about purchasing something. Sometimes you had to wait in a line, but just as a whole, those experiences were really cool.
Yeah, they really had some fun ones.
They're so unique. Like you're not going to do that anywhere else.
No.
and don't forget the Avatar one too.
Yes.
That was super fun.
That was really cool.
That video's on our channel too if you want to check out the Avatar experience. But I loved.
I was so impressed.
Yeah,
Like,
you felt like you were in Pandora. Like I moved to Disney World at night. Like it was so immersive, so cool. You forgot you were in the middle of a convention center.
It was very cool.
Oh, the Disney wedding area. I know that wasn't
yeah.
an experience, but you still got to take a picture by the carriage.
Yeah.
There was stuff from Julie Andrews' costume from Mary Poppins behind it.
It was so
her
cool.
hat, her shoes, and then her handprints from being a Disney legend. Like I still categorize it as experiences. So like all of that stuff
Yeah.
is cool.
Oh yeah, Emily.
My favorite thing was just seeing everyone's costumes.
Oh my God.
There were
you're
so
right.
many costumes.
I could have said that too.
There were
it was
so
awesome.
many guys. I people watched for a good hour. I literally, at one point, there was just a lot going on. I just took a break. I went outside and I watched them do like the group photo with everybody's
that's
costumes. It was so awesome. There was like just a couple of quick ones that blew my mind. There was like a guy that was like, it was a woman, and she had like a 6-foot dragon head that opened and shot like smoke.
I didn't see that one.
Like
I didn't see
Phantasm, like the
Wait a
Phantasm
minute, I
dragon.
totally missed this one.
Wow.
There was a girl dressed as Maleficent with these giant black feathers.
Yes,
That
I
one
saw
I saw.
her.
I saw a girl that was she was cosplaying as Meg from Hercules, but she did a more like Greek accurate version of Meg from Hercules, which was really cool. There was one she was I feel like you would call this a cosplay, but it was like a cosplay of Madame Leota.
Yes, the
Yes.
table.
Yes.
Christmas
From the Nightmare Before
Nightmare
Christmas
Before
overlay.
Christmas overlay of Haunted
She had
Mansion.
a whole freaking table on
It was
her.
a whole table and the glass ball, and she had like a naughty and nice scroll. That was really cool.
Someone was the female birds from Tiki Room. It was like the
it
whole
had the whole
chandelier
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my
chandelier
God.
thing. Yeah, that was really cool.
There was
a
so many
really cool
things.
Doc Ock that had like the
There
whole
was
octopus
Muppet
arms.
Jedis. Those are one of my
There
favorites.
was?
Yes,
One
yes,
dressed
yes.
as Kermit, one as Miss
Miss
Piggy,
Piggy.
but then they were in Jedi outfits and they had green and pink lightsabers. They
Oh,
were like
I see
Muppet
that.
Jedis.
Those were cool.
Somebody was an electric scooter, and they had the whole Sleeping Beauty. What was it? When she's in the woods dancing with them, there's
Oh, yeah.
the birds holding up
and
the dress.
It was the cloak.
Oh, no
yeah, the
kidding.
cloak.
Yeah.
So there was a guy driving around on the electric scooter with that whole getup on while Sleeping Beauty was walking right next to
Oh
him.
my God.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
I mean the cosplaying was
Hundreds
just,
of dollars these people spent.
Oh,
Thousands.
wait, there was
thousands.
one more I really want to shout out because I thought it was I don't understand how it works. But somebody had this like another like electric scooter thing, and they built a box around it out of PCP pipes and then covered it, and they had a working Magic Band scanner on it.
What?
Oh, no kidding.
So
they were like an entry into Disneyland?
Yeah, like
Oh.
it was like the turnstiles that you go into, and not Disneyland, Disney World. It
Or
was
Disney
like,
World,
It was
sorry.
a Magic Band scanner, and then the people she was with all had Magic Bands on, and they were doing demonstrations of like
Oh,
tapping
that's
the Magic
cool.
Band.
Now
They
that's
did the
creative.
Do.
Huh.
It was really cool.
Huh.
There was a lot of really cool
There
costumes.
was. There was a lot that you could appreciate.
That was definitely my favorite
Some that
part.
weren't like elaborate, but very detailed, very great.
Yeah.
Some very beautiful princess ball gowns.
Gorgeous.
Oh my god!
And it's like,
yeah.
okay, I get what you're not trying to be the table walking around or the big wing, but you did a fantastic
Yeah.
job. Like,
Beautiful costume.
Oh, it was amazing.
I was the Pixar ball.
So, on that note, though, what was your least favorite part about D23?
For me, I thought the amount of virtual queues that they had was excessive. I
Yeah.
feel like that there was a few of them that they could have maybe scaled down on, because the problem is that we decided not to wake up at 4 a.m. to do any of that.
Yeah.
And then when we get there, we're like, wait. Like, we saw the list online. We got a visual of how many there were. But then when you get there, oh, wait, you can't go look at the pins. That's virtual queue. Like, there were too many of them.
Yeah.
There were a
Well, not
lot.
only that, but I really wish they had spaced them out.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the need for early queues,
Yeah, same.
but I don't understand the need for 4 a.m. queues. And that's
that
what...
was excessive because we didn't get to go into the marketplace.
Well, like Disneyland, Disney World, your virtual queues kick in at 7 a.m. And if your convention isn't opening till 9 a.m.,
Let us sleep.
yeah.
Because I'm the type of person, if I would have been on my phone at 4 a.m., it would have taken me an hour to fall back asleep, or maybe not at all.
Yeah.
So that's why I purposely didn't do that. Because I'm like, I need to sleep.
Yeah, I'm gonna be, yeah, and not only that, but they only did one queue at 4 a.m. Why they don't space that out
And do a second one at like 1 or
and do a
something.
one at 10 a.m. and one at 1
Wasn't
p.m.?
there
Like,
technically another round at 1 o'clock that we weren't really
well,
aware of?
They released another round, but I wasn't sure. They didn't do a good job communicating on which virtual queues were, because not
Yeah.
all of them opened up at 1,
Okay.
but they did open some. And then at the end of the day, they opened up standby lines at like 4 o'clock.
I was
really
a little bit cranky
confusing.
about that because I was in line to go watch the Disney Channel panel, which I needed to see that with all of them. After we saw Corbin Blue walking around and Monique Coleman, we're like, we got to go there. So like while we're waiting in line to get into the auditorium, we're like, oh, what? 4:15 we could stand by. I'm like, shit, I could have got pins.
Yeah. But like that's my thing. I love Disney pins. I'm there for the collectors, but I am not a diehard collector. I'm not a reseller. I don't need to be the first one in the door.
No.
But I do want to get in the door at some point. And to get to the pin shop at 1 in the afternoon and be like, oh no, Disney pins are off limits. It's a virtual
That
queue
was
only.
dumb.
I'm like, that kind of, and it wasn't in the marketplace upstairs. It was on the convention floor.
And it wasn't even there. Like for them doing virtual queue, it wasn't even a packed area. That's what was confusing. We thought we could just walk in. They're like, no, you need a virtual queue.
Yeah. Well, and what threw me off is because it was on the convention floor. Like, for example, Loungefly did need a virtual queue. They had a standby, like, it was only a standby line for their booth. Roosevelt's, another big one, did not have a standby line. Didn't have a virtual queue, just had a standby line. Pandora, all of them, you could just walk up and do all these different major Disney brands. So when you walked up to the pin store that was on the same floor in the same build, to be told, oh no, it's a virtual queue only. And I'm like, it's just pins.
Yeah.
Like, I understand first one through the door, but even if you're going to run a virtual queue, you should run a standby line. I don't mind waiting a little while to get in. I don't need to be the first one in the door.
Right.
You let 10 virtual queues in and then one standby, and 10 and whatever you want to do. I agree. There were too many.
They could have scaled it back. Like we get it's needed
100%.
for big things.
Not
but
saying
it was
we get rid of them.
Too many. Because I think there was an area with Marvel that was virtual queue that was technically an experience that some of the costumes were out. And I
Yeah.
was pissed learning about that coming home. I'm like, you're kidding me. I could have seen all these Marvel costumes, but I think that was a virtual queue area, which I
Yeah.
might be wrong, but I think I'm
No,
like,
it's still,
damn
but
it.
and that's where it comes. That actually comes into where my biggest issue with D23 was, and that was communication. I called D23, back when we had trying to get tickets, and they were doing all these different things, and I had basic questions in buying the tickets, and I couldn't get a straight answer. Like, well, I don't know, or they changed their minds on this, or I was told this morning, and then fast forward to the convention, you even had issues in communication. Like you'd walk up to one staff member and they tell you A, and then you go to a different staff member and ask, and they give you answer B. And you're like, well, they just told me this. And you're like, well, this is what I was told this morning, or this is what I know. And that was very frustrating from a communication standpoint. And then trying to decipher things like which virtual queues should I get in, which virtual queues are to what, there wasn't, at least in my opinion, it got very confusing. And ultimately we didn't do any, and that is partially a regret for me on the trip.
Yeah.
Didn't ruin the trip by any stretch. Had a ton of fun, did a lot of stuff, but virtual queues were a little complicated. I wish they would have A, made it a little easier, and B, had more opportunities. Oh, I didn't get up at 4 a.m. I want to do this. I'm going to jump in the 10 o'clock queue and try to get in later in the day. I just want to see the costumes. I just want to see what pins are there. I'm not trying to resell this pin for 80, 100.
No, I want it for myself.
Yeah, I want it for myself. I want to see it.
Some of them are selling for like $1,000 on eBay because I went on there today.
It's insane.
Yeah, they're
Like, what the?
they're
But
just over
the
top.
communication was terrible. And actually, I'm sure Emily's probably going to touch on this because it's probably her worst thing. But communication with staff members at the arena or at the convention
was
center
abysmal.
was terrible. And I'll let Emily tell her story, but I helped Emily at the end here, and you're going to understand why in a second. We had a simple issue that got no help from anyone. And when we tried to ask for help, the answer we kept getting was, oh, that's someone else. Oh, that's a different department. Oh, that's a different... And nobody would help us. So, Emily, fill in the blanks here a little bit.
So my least favorite part is a short story. My cell phone went missing, unfortunately, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked all over the place, couldn't figure it out. And I went up to a Disney cast member in a Disney cast member shirt, and I asked her, and I said, I can't find my phone. Is there a lost and found? And she said, oh, yes, at the guest service department. It's right down that hallway. So I walk over there, and I say, hi, I've lost my phone.
And that was in the front of the...
And this is in the front of the
That
convention.
wasn't on the convention floor. It was in that hallway in the front.
It was in the hallway in the front. And she said, well, where was the last time you had it? And I said, well, the last time I had it was outside when I was looking at the hero and villain stuff. And she said, well, then it wouldn't be at this lost and found. You're going to have to check the outside lost and found. Which, why are there two lost and founds? But anyways, so I go back.
Indeed?
So I go back outside, and I ask a guy in a security vest. And I said, where is the lost and found outside? And he goes, we don't have a lost and found outside. And I said, well, the people inside just told me you did. And he goes, well, let me ask my manager. So then he has to go back and get another guy. And this guy goes, oh, yeah, I have a box back here on my desk. So then they take me over to this tent, and he goes, I don't have any phones, but I can ask my people. So he asks the people on his walkie-talkie. He goes, nobody has your phone. I'm sorry. Try the concierge desk. So they send me back inside, and I go to another desk. And she goes, we don't have it in here, but I would suggest calling someone to help you. And I said, can I use your phone? And she goes, I can't give out my personal phone. Let me see if I can find you a phone. So she goes into the back. I stand there for maybe 6 or 7 minutes and comes back and goes, turns out I don't have a phone you can use. So you can go down that hallway and you can try that desk down there. So I walk over to another desk, and of course, there's no one at this desk. It says, if you need something, ring the bell. I rang the bell 4 times. No one showed up. You couldn't hear the bell. You couldn't even hear the bell over the people. Rang the bell 4 times. No one showed up. So then at that point, RJ shows up purely on coincidence, and he had found my phone.
Correction. I tried calling Emily, and they answered the phone, and there was some random person on the phone. And I was like, well, who's answering your phone? Who the hell is this? And they're like, oh, this is security. We found this lost phone. It's at the lost and found desk. So when I found Emily, because then I started going to look for Emily, like, okay, she lost her phone. She's probably panicking. Hooked up with her finally. Totally was. Hooked up with her finally. We go back to that lost and found desk on the inside, and I said, hey, I got a call from security. They said it's here at lost and found. She couldn't find it, and she said, oh, it might be in the convention center lost and found.
That is now a third lost and found.
And we both looked at each other, and we're like, are we not in the convention center? Apparently, Disney concierge desk in the front has a lost and found. But the convention center security separate to Disney, has their own security area and their own Lost and Found, which was in the back of the convention center.
On the floor.
On the floor. No big deal. All right, cool. We're on our way. We get back there. There's a security guard sitting on a chair outside the area that was curtained off, and that's where the thing was. And I said, I need to get back there. We need to get her phone. Oh, no, employees only back here. And I said, no problem. Can you get me somebody from security? They have her phone, and they said to come here. And she said, well, I'm not sure who that was, but I can't leave my post, and I don't have any way to contact anything. So I said, I need to talk to security. Well, I'm not actually security. I'm crowd management. You need security. Find somebody in a
blue shirt.
In a blue shirt. So I'm like, okay. So I find somebody in a blue shirt, and I said, I need to talk to security. We need to get it. Oh, well, I'm floor security, but you probably need like actual security. So you're going to have to find somebody in a blazer. And I said, well, can you call them for me? No, I can't. I don't have a way. They're a different security, so we don't have a communication to them. So then finally we found one of these in a blazer, and the gentleman was very nice, but I looked at him, I was like, are you actually security? And he's like, yes. And I said, security, like convention center security? Yes. And then we explained it, and he goes, okay, no problem. Let me go figure it out. Sure enough, he found her phone.
2 minutes later, I had the phone.
Boom, it was like that. But the communication was abysmal.
Like, what should have taken maybe 5-10 minutes took almost 45 minutes.
And not only that, but it created a little bit of a scary thought of, if I needed security for a different reason.
An emergency.
Yes. I need you to call security. My kid's missing.
Yeah.
Well, I can't. You're going to have to find somebody different. And then we get to that, how long would I have had to spend to find somebody who is actually security to help me in this major convention? The fact that the securities can't talk to each other and they tell me, oh, no, that's a different security. We don't have communication. I understand maybe from a lower level, that person can't radio that person, but that person should be able to radio their dispatch or their boss.
That can get connected with the other group.
Correct. And then say, okay, no problem. I'll get a security to your location. There was no communication.
The whole thing was terrible. And the fact that the lady at the desk didn't let me use her freaking cell phone.
Well, I get not using your personal phone,
though.
But how do you not have a landline?
Of any kind. Like a phone of any kind.
A Disney cell phone that you can... I mean, there's no reason there should not have been a way for you to make a call, to call me and say, hey, my family's in there. I need to hook up with them. I've lost my phone. I have a problem. And they didn't offer it. So
I ended up walking up to this guy dressed as Star-Lord, and he let me use his phone. So shout out to that guy. But
yeah,
the whole experience was total crap. So that was my least favorite thing for sure.
So on that note,
yes,
moving into 4D23. This is all our first time. We know there was things that we wish we had known before and things that would have maybe made it easier. So what is something you wish you had known before you went that you now know?
I wish I knew going into it how much was restricted to virtual queues. Like, I knew there were virtual queues, but I didn't know how much of it was. I would have, and I know you guys already touched on this, so I'm not going to like badger on, but I would have liked to be able to stand in a standby line for more stuff. There was a lot of stuff that was restricted.
So better understanding VQs. Okay.
Yeah.
Jen?
You go next. I'm still trying to think of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I wish I had known before I went is how much, and it's going to sound kind of like, oh my God, D23, how much stuff there really was to do. Like, I know D23 is huge, but generally, to my previous knowledge with all the D23 stuff, is that there were a lot of panels to sit through and stuff to watch and learn, not so much stuff that was interactive on the floor.
Yeah.
Different booths to walk through.
There was a lot more experienced stuff.
A lot more experienced stuff than I thought. And we had only, we did a very simple D23. Didn't know what to expect. We wanted to do Disneyland 2. Only so much time in our lives. So I wish we had did a little bit more D23.
I wish we had done all 3 days.
All 3 days, yeah. And knowing the amount of interactive experience stuff.
Yeah.
Not just the panels like the Disney Channel panel, or we watched an Imagineer panel. Pixar did a couple of different panels about different things. Those were cool.
The Imagineering panel was really cool. That was my favorite.
And that's on our channel too. Check that out.
Was awesome.
But it's like one of those things where I wish I had in my mind been more prepared, more of a, okay, I know we're going to spend today just on the floor, just doing the booths and the activities. And then the other day, okay, I want to see this panel. I imagined it being a lot more panels, a lot more sitting and going from room to room, not so nearly as much on the floor, just bopping around. Oh, I'm going to spin the wheel at the 31 Nights of Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm going to go draw the Disney and do the Disney Channel. I'm going to walk through Pandora.
I loved the streaming services Pin Hunt. That was another thing I really liked.
Yeah, that was cool too. Like, it's just, there was a lot of experience stuff. So I wish I had known that ahead of time and prepared more for that.
Yeah.
More of my time was like, oh, I'm going to do this panel. I'm going to see this. I'm going to see this. And I ended up spending most of my day on the floor because I was like, I want to go to the ESPN booth and take a picture with the national championship trophy. So,
And me and Jen went to a cool panel that was like weird stuff in the Disney archives.
Yes,
that was really cool.
That was amazing. I really loved it. They were showing us all these different pictures of stuff from all different years of Disney.
It was awesome.
Talking about some of their systems with the Disney archives. It was cool.
Like how they store stuff.
yeah. So, Jad, what's your wish you knew?
So it's almost like I wish I wouldn't have caved into something. I've been to conventions before, in Cleveland, out in Sandusky. I've seen many videos of D23. I wish I didn't give in and believe the massive crowd situation that the influencers were putting out.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I've been to conventions before. Like, it's more free moving, all of this stuff. The problem was there was these influencers putting in these wall-to-wall people videos.
It's 4 a.m. and here's the line.
That in a way the night before, which everyone was probably ready to shoot me. I went into a little bit of a panic being like, what did I get myself into? Like, I wanted to be able to enjoy this for just the one day we're going to be there. But if we're going to be like sardines in a can the entire time, it's not going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I wish I didn't buy into the stuff that was put online when it was exactly how I thought it was going to be. You were freely able to move around. Yes, there are lines to buy things or do things. And it wasn't as bad as these people played out from Friday.
It was a lot of hype.
There was a lot of lines, I will say.
Yeah.
But if you were to go to Disneyland instead, you'd wait in much more lines.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to
no
be the
line
same
was
thing.
over an hour long.
No, and even like just when people are like, oh, the food is overpriced, the lines for
It
food
wasn't
take
that
ever.
bad.
No, it wasn't that bad at all.
There's a lot of internet.
Yeah, there was a lot of
clout,
hype.
I guess,
Right, 'cause
about
they were
how
all-
bad stuff is, but
Yeah.
it really wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, prior
And we got into the build. Sorry, we
You're
got
fine.
into the building in less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Well, before the convention, we were getting all hyped up that these lines for the food, like this was even before we left Ohio, that we were afraid that it was going to be so jam-packed that we wanted to pack our own food.
Yeah.
So we started to do that. We were making a list to like get ordered from Target. But then we found out last minute before our trip that there was no outside food allowed.
Yeah.
So we just ended up buying food there. And while we were in line for food, I'm like, wait a second. Why was it so hyped up that
Right.
it's god awful? Then, the food trucks, well, don't worry. That's going to be such bad lines too. I'm like, what are you talking
I mean,
about?
the food
It
trucks
wasn't.
might have been a little bit
It
worse of
might
a
have
line.
been, yeah.
But I do want to say what was making it sound. There was like 4 main convention sections on the floor. Each section had a food court from the convention center with food options.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to just do these couple of food trucks. There
And
was
not
food.
just like pretzels. Like they had sandwiches, they had pizza, they had
The
hot
one had
dogs.
sushi.
Yeah, they
they had all
like
kinds of
food.
stuff, and it was good. It wasn't like
it
gas
wasn't
station
junk.
quality.
Yeah, it wasn't junk food either.
Was it expensive? Sure. You're in Anaheim. You're at Disneyland Bubble. You're at D23, and you're in a convention center.
Of course, you're going to pay $6 for a Gatorade.
Yeah, exactly. If you expected to go in there and pay $6 for a meal, you're just dumb. But
Dumb.
I also didn't feel like I bought crap food like you go to a stadium, you're like, I just paid $7 for this hot
And
dog.
it was
Like,
gross. Yeah, it was
no,
fine.
It was good food.
food was great. So I guess the ultimate question then comes back to, and what the video is about ultimately was D23 worth it? Would you go back? And let's do, what's one tip you would give somebody who's doing their first D23 with the next one in 26?
Okay. Rapid fire, was it worth it? Yes. Would I go again? 1,000% yes.
Okay.
One tip I would give is I would dress up in a costume. I was so worried about my costume. You can ask these two. I was so
She was.
intense about my costume. I was like, everyone's are so much better than this. Everyone puts thousands of dollars and hours of work into
We
this.
debated leaving her at home because we were so tired of answering costume questions.
Like, I was worried it wasn't going to
Many
be perfect.
brainstorming sessions, sending texts of pictures off Pinterest back and forth.
I mean, these two,
midnight.
like, I'm over here just wearing a Roosevelt and a shirt, and I was happy. These two over here, oh, does this costume work? Oh, can I get more creative with this? I was like, I'm about to leave this chat. I'm done. Like,
I was so
nuts.
I wanted it to be so perfect, but no matter how much work you put into it, someone else is gonna have a really cool idea too. So just go with your gut and wear a costume. It makes it fun.
Even the very basic costumes pulled off very well.
they were
there,
really
so.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no limit to creativity.
so was it worth it? 100%. Would I go again? I not only would go again, I would do more. I would add the extra days. I also, because of budget, didn't want to spend the money on the Honda Center. I regret that immensely now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
would I not?
We live streamed it instead of going, and we regret that.
And we're like, damn, this is like up the street and we're not there. I'm missing out. So not only would I do it again, I would do more D23 than I did this time.
Yep.
I would add the Honda Center. And my tip, actually, I think that really is kind of my tip. Don't buy into the hype. Do your own thing. But quite honestly, the single day D23, unless you're doing it for one specific reason, a particular panel, a reseller moment, something, my tip is do the weekend. You can always leave early if you're tired and go back to your hotel. We did an Airbnb like 5 minutes down the road. It was perfect. You don't have to be there the entire time, but don't do what we did. Don't do just one day. We bought into the hype. We were worried. We'd never been there before. It was something we're like, okay, we're going to do small. We're going to learn. I wish we had did more. So my tip is just do more. You can always stop early or whatever, but do it all because it really will be worth it.
For me, it was totally worth it. I would go again. I agree. I am very upset we didn't do the Honda Center. Me and him were screaming so hard at the TV about many things. And just the second John Stamos was on the stage, I'm like, what?
I will say we tried scalping tickets too. We're on the D23 pages like anybody not going tonight will pay cash. Like we were straight up trying to scalp tickets for the Honda Center.
Yes. My tip is... Actually, I don't know what the street was where there was like a side door that still had security. It was still all the same protocols, but we got dumped right in the convention center and we got to walk without it being like a clustered mess. And we actually got to get into the one floor. I don't know what room that was. It was like
the upper floor. With
the upper floor where the marketplace was.
The marketplace was there. The Inside Out experience was up there.
We got in there before 9:00.
Yeah, it was
did.
like opened early.
Yeah, but everyone that was at the main entrance to get their picture in front, where the banners were, where the sorcerer hat with the Schwartzy whatever crystals. Crystals were the big
Swarovski crystals. Whatever it was, a crystal embezzled D23 sign.
So even though like you missed out on that stuff, it was beneficial going in the side door, but we got to go still to that in front where there were no crowds. The sun wasn't beating in our face. We weren't squinting in our pictures. So we still got to do that at the end, which was nice. So I would say go in the side door. I don't know what street that was. That was the area that our Uber dropped us off.
Yeah, we had it drop us off. Actually, what we did is we dropped off at the Westin next door.
Oh, yeah,
and then just walked down the street there. But definitely side entrance.
Yes.
That was a good.
10 out of 10.
That was a great thing we did. Definitely.
Because we weren't in the stampede that came in.
Yeah, for sure. So I hope this helped answer a couple of questions for you if you're debating D23 for 2026 or not. We'll definitely do more of these as we get closer to 26. Obviously, we're a little bit farther away, but hey, it was still super fun. So much to download, so much fun to do. And definitely check out our actual episode dropping on Tuesday because we're going to be talking about the different things at D23 and breaking down some of the actual announcement stuffs from the Honda Center that we so wish we were actually at, but what are you gonna do? But that was our first mini-sode here by the Castle to Castle podcast crew. So we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button below, and please like this video. We really appreciate the support from everybody. If you got another question from D23, ask it in the comments. We'll try to answer as many as we can. And until then, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.